Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Business Spotlight. I'm Scott McMeans with Action Coaching. Today, I am with Ryan Drake of JFD Landscaping. And you can see the guy works for a living, but he also has a chance to tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a business leader, in particular in landscaping. So, with that, Ryan, I want to introduce you to the audience. So, the microphone and camera are yours. Take a couple of minutes and tell us your story.
Sure. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate having me on.
Absolutely.
So been in landscaping, I like to say since, 91, when I hopped out the womb, but I've been in it full time since 2014, so about 10 years now. Uh, and then before that, it was doing summers since like '07. And then even before that, and then, it was helping stuff invoices and making maps, all the things that child labor is used for in a small business. So I've seen the gamut, and it's kind of interesting over the years to think about how we went from, because like I am old enough and young enough at the same time. Like I remember having the plat maps of the counties and having to like
Yeah.
for the mowing routes and like highlighting, all right, this house. And then from here, you make, highlighting the route from this house to the next house for the guys, all those sorts of things. And, today we have, everybody's got Google Maps or Apple Maps on their phone. And, you can tell anybody to go anywhere and, off they go. But,
Yeah.
um, so like I said, I've been involved in landscaping for a hot minute. So, um, our company was founded in 1989. It went from running out of mom and dad's house. So like I can remember as a young kid, popping my head out the bedroom window in the morning to watch the trucks roll out. Uh, and then we moved to where we're at now in 95. We've got a about 5 acres here in Auburn Township. So we've got a decent spread, and it's just grown over the years. Do
What?
everything full service. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we do everything, if it can be done outside of a home or business, we can pretty much handle. Or we got subs that we've worked with for, decades that help us out. So it's pretty good. I can't complain.
I love it. I was going to ask you, you've done such an amazing job since you've been a part of it, but since 1989 till now, and now you've been in the last 10 years, what is it about the landscaping business that separates you from any other landscaper that's out there?
I think the biggest thing is our commitment to quality, and we actually care, because it's really not that hard these days to really earn business. Like if you just answer the phone or return a phone call or return an email, it's literally
Okay.
that easy. Uh, the contractors are the guys that, can't return phone calls or can't get back to people on time. It's that part of it. So I think it's our communication, and doing it for as long as we have, you know, when clients ask for, say, a reference or a referral or whatever, it's like, we're not, number one, we're not going to send you bad references. So that, you can ask for a referral you want, but you're not going to get a bad. We're not going to send you somebody that's going to badmouth us.
Right, right.
But at the same token, we're not practicing anymore. We know what it takes to get the job done. We
Oh,
know the labor hours it takes to get things accomplished to the level of quality that's going to last for decades. So, we're not trying to do a lick and stick and get the patio in and for the bare minimum. Well, I hope it lasts for 5 years while you're still in this house. We want it be
yeah.
down the line, house to house, property to property.
So what kind of services do you offer from mowing lawns, construction, installations? What do we do?
Sure. So we do full service property maintenance. So we're not like a mow and blow type company. Like if we're gonna maintain your property, we're mowing the lawn, we're maintaining the beds, the whole kit and caboodle. Spring cleanup, fall cleanup, the whole 9 yards, mulch install, and then we do all our fertilization, lawn care, and plant health is all in house. So from fertilizing and doing diseases and insects in the lawns to insects and diseases and plants and trees and shrubs. Uh, there's a whole
Okay.
gamut of things. Deer protectant spray, perimeter pest control. I mean, there's a whole slew of things on that side.
So when you talk about plant health and you do that in
Mhm.
house, what does that mean?
Sure. So it's number one, fertility programs for both trees and shrubs and lawns. So, you know, I like to call it kind of like take your property taking its vitamins. Okay. So,
Okay.
you know, the lawn needs nitrogen, plants need fertilizer and down in the wintertime. And then you got certain things around the property that might need different fertilizers throughout the year. So, you know, you got whether it's rhododendrons that need a little bit more pH or they like acidic soils. So those things need a little bit different fertilizer than others. So, you know, there's a whole slew of things. So it's starting with
And
fertility and then tackling any issues that pop up throughout the year too.
okay, and you say you do that in house. Do other landscaping companies not have that level of service where you do the plant health part of it? Is that
It
something unique to you?
varies. Yeah, I think it's a little bit unique. You know, a lot of guys will sub it out to, lawn care only companies. Um, so
Okay.
I mean, it varies across the board, depending on like what size of the business they are, maybe.
Okay. And then do you do like hardscaping? Somebody wants a
Yep.
patio put in. Okay. So you said you want it to last more than 5 years. God, I hope it lasts more than 5 years, right?
Right.
So what is it that on that side of the business? Because I love the idea that you have so many different value propositions or differentiators on one side of the business. Does that transcend across the portfolio in that you have unique offerings on the hardscape stuff?
Absolutely. So, like my father still does the construction design build side of the business, and
Okay.
he's unique. So, he has all the skills and abilities to build a house if he wanted to. So, that's what kind of makes us different. So, when you got a landscaper that just rolls in there that knows to deal with patios, maybe they don't know, hey, the gas line needs to come, from this side, needs to run in the pet. You need to put a sleeve here, all those sorts of like
Yeah.
little things, the little fine details that add up in the end that really what make the difference, I think.
Yeah, and one of the comments you made before, Ryan, I want to highlight because it was profound. I wrote it down as like, we're not practicing anymore.
Right.
We've been doing this long enough that we've been there, we've done that, we've seen this, and we're probably not going to be surprised by too many things that come our way because we're not
Right.
practicing. This is our profession and we're good at it. And
Correct.
people respect what we do. That's a huge thing. And that goes down into the same level of the little details make all the difference, right? If you
Mhm.
know what needs to be done to get not cut a corner, never suggesting you're going to cut a corner, but when you know the details that need to take place to go from a decent job to a really good superior job, and you take the high road and get things done the right way, that's what separates you from everybody else. Your quality and the fact that you said we actually care, that shows you actually care because, and this is what's interesting. Sorry, um, most companies don't pay attention to the reputation until it's too late. It sounds
Right.
like since 1989, your dad and the business that was being built was built on a reputation that gained momentum year after year. And now you're looking at this business that you have all these different facets to it. You have one side that does lawn maintenance, one side that does construction, however you delineate your business. You've done it based on a reputation. It's gotten better every year. That's huge, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a heck of foundation to build upon at this point, being a very recognizable quality name in the area. So yeah, he's done a hell of a job in getting us to where we are now.
That's awesome. So now that you've gotten here, let's talk about some of the things that you've learned along the way, right?
Sure.
So you're in a position now, you're going to be doing more and more with the company than you are right now. So walk us through what are you learning as you're going from the guy that works in this business to the guy that's trying to do more with the business?
Sure. Well, I think number one is it all starts with the people that you have on your team.
Hmm.
So it's and if you've read any of the books, Jim Collins, Good to Great, all those sorts of things, it's having the right people on the bus, but they also have to be in the right seats on the bus.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's a matter of, all right, we got a good quality guy here. Maybe he's running a mowing crew, but maybe his skill set isn't so much built for that. Like, all right, we need to move him over maybe to construction. He does a better job over there, whatever the case is. So it's being flexible and not really just pigeonhole yourself into like well, you can only do this one thing. Like, well, no, maybe he's going to be better off on a different side. Like, let's try that out. So for me, it's all about building the right team, and that's kind of what I'm starting on now. Going forward is finding the right people to add to really help this company grow. Because the goal is, again, like you got these, and we talked about this a little bit before. So you got these smaller kind of mom and pop outfits. Maybe they don't have an employee that can take over the business, or they don't have anybody to sell to, whatever the case is. Um, these businesses need to lead on. So what I'm trying to do is get us to a point where there's more opportunities for team members. So, at these little mom and pop place, maybe they got a really good, crew lead, but like he's not he's topped out. He can't move up any higher. Like unless he decides he wants to buy the business, whatever, he's kind of stuck where he's at. Um, so I'm trying to get to a point where we can consistently grow and provide those opportunities for the team members to grow their careers at the same time.
Okay. That's huge now, because one of the biggest challenges, and we've talked about this, right? Every business has one of four or maybe multiples of these four problems in their business, right? Time, money, people, or motivation. And you're addressing the people part and the motivation part kind of simultaneously with the way you're managing your people, like you said. Let's get the right people on the bus, but make sure they get into the right seat. And now that they're in that seat, let's give them the opportunity to perform and grow at their own pace or within the pace that we see them at, because they can contribute. That
Absolutely.
is a component, Ryan, that a lot of businesses miss out on because they fail to recognize their own opportunity is in the hands of the people that work for them. And if you give people the opportunity to perform, you as an owner can take a step back from the day to day and actually build your business by working on it and not trying to figure out how to work in it. Right. So it's interesting. Most business owners love to be all things to everybody, right? They try to take care of their team members, they try to take care of their customers, they run around in circles making sure the business gets done. But if they would take a step back and focus on, how do I take care of my team members? So those people can take care of my customers. My customers always take care of my business, and it just rotates that way. So give
Yep.
your people the authority, the autonomy. God, give them the opportunity to do things. They'll be really successful, but you got to guide them the right way. And it sounds like you've got a really good structure to make sure people are in the right spots.
Yeah, I don't want to be clear and say that I am the end all be all and I got it all, figured out. But that's the direction I'm trying to go in, Uh,
Well,
you know,
the purpose of the podcast, as we've talked, is I want people to learn from other business owners and leaders that this is not unique. Your problem isn't unique, but if you listen to other people, they'll tell you this is how I solve the problem. And you're addressing the idea of, all right, my business is really built off people, and I take care of my people by making sure they have the opportunities in the right spots, whatever. By no means is any business perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect business, but the aspiration to be perfect is what makes a difference. Because if you're willing to try new things and take a risk or put in processes that will make you better, that is the opportunity to be great. You just have to follow through on it. So this is the stuff that makes everything work to your benefit. And that's why I love talking about this kind of thing with people like you, because man, if businesses would just take a step back and really pay attention to what works and what doesn't work, they wouldn't have to work so hard.
oh, I know. Well, I still the best way I learn, and I think a lot of us kind of in the trades learn, is I get by getting whacked upside the head a couple times and kind of figuring out like, okay, I've banged my head against the wall one too many times. Like, all right, maybe I ought to try something different here.
All right, well, there's nothing wrong with trial, testing, and measuring, right? There's nothing wrong with that as long as you're learning from it. It'd be
Right,
one thing if you got knocked upside the head and you did the same thing 3 times in a row and can't figure out why you keep getting knocked upside the head. All right, maybe
right.
we need to have a little bit of a different assessment done. But when
Yes,
you are
yes.
learning, God, you're growing and you get a chance to do something different and maybe learn and grow from that. It's perfect. So now that we're on
Absolutely.
this topic, you don't have to tell me you got knocked upside the head, but I would like to know, what is a challenge that you faced that kind of gives you pride to say, yep, we faced that and damn it, we took care of it. We learned from it. So is there something that sticks out?
There's no particular like event that sticks out when I
Okay.
think about that. I think I think it's just a matter of just continually keep going. Like despite like any sort of issues that happen, problems that arise, whatever it is, it's like you know, and I've heard it from some other people that have been successful that, they don't have a plan B. Like there's plan A and that's where we're going. The bridge is burned behind us. There's only one way to go. So it's kind of having that mindset of just continually pushing on. So like I don't get too worked up about like any real issues for the most part. I try to stay pretty level headed. There's obviously some things that pop up from now and then, but there's no big events that I'm like, wow, that was such a big mountain to overcome. Like there's nothing like that.
Okay.
It's just continuous. Just keep on moving. That's it.
So okay, let's take this a different direction, right? If there's not one big issue that you had to deal with, there's daily issues or routine things that come up. So how do you handle those in order to keep yourself level-headed, as you said, and make sure that the business is moving forward? So how is it that you have such a level head? Like, what is it about the way you address challenges or situations that other people can learn from to say, all right, I may not use that same tactic that Ryan does, but I
Yeah.
probably could use that. It would make myself a little bit better business person. So what is your secret?
I don't think I had any secrets, Scott. Uh,
Oh,
I, I think it's just personality. It drives my wife nuts because, like I'll give an example. So like we're in the OB's office or whatever. We're finding out, what the gender is of our daughter, and they got the little thing going, and like, all right, you guys like want to know? Like, oh yeah, absolutely. And like, all right, you're having a girl, and I just was like, oh no shit, and and she's over there like, all overjoyed, and she's like, what the heck, what the heck's wrong with you? Why aren't you all more excited? She's like, I am excited, I go about it a different way. So I, I think it's somewhat personality related. Um, but I
there's
think,
brilliant story. Freaking love it. Brilliant
yeah,
story. And the reason why it is your personality, but it's your attitude towards things. Okay. And
yeah,
this is where I think it comes into play. You get excited for the right reasons and you do it in your own way. And you don't necessarily let things get in the way of you what you're enjoying. You truly are enjoying the fact that you're having a daughter. You just don't let
right,
all the interference get in the way of the moment of, oh no shit, we're having a daughter. This is awesome.
right, yeah,
It's okay. But now I'm going to push that a little bit further. And you're standing on a construction site, you're doing whatever, and something happens. You're like, all right, well, no shit. We just got to get that fixed. Let's just go fix it. There's no time to worry about all the other interference and stuff. It's deal with it in the moment and be present. And maybe that's the answer, Ryan, is being present. Like this moment right now is the moment I'm in. So might as well make the most of it. That's pretty cool
yeah.
too.
I do tend to. I feel like I do a pretty good job of living in the present. That or I just have a really bad memory. Um, you know, the same thing. Like I get home at night and she's asking me how my day was, and what I did is like I don't know. It was a good day. Like I don't I got nothing for you. You know?
Nobody got killed. We didn't lose any business. And you know what? I was able to put something together and the customer was incredibly happy with me. Perfect. What a
Yeah.
great day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're
Pretty
great,
much.
man. This is good. I think a lot of people can learn. Not only do you need to be really good at putting people in the right spot, you have to be really good at communicating, but be present and live your business through being present. And you handle questions, you handle problems in a very present manner. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that
Yeah.
at all. What is it
There
that
there
you've
are still things that fire me up. Okay.
all right, let's
There's
what
still
fires
like
you up? Let's go.
like a minor example would be like, the guys maybe they broke some piece of equipment, whatever the case is. There's a process for how we go about that, but maybe it's come in the morning and then we find out like, oh, this thing's broken. It's like, well, nobody said anything about it. But
Mm,
you got plans that are set up and scheduled, and maybe it's a unique piece of equipment for like whatever job you're going to the next day. And now like I gotta try and like, you know, go to
figure out.
plan B, plan C, whatever it is to try and, either continue forward or like what the change is. So like that stuff drives me nuts, things like that. But
Okay.
uh, I,
But,
I won't hang up on it too long.
and I think that's the issue, right? Or the answer to the question is, how do you be successful? Is you don't hang up in the moment. You don't get caught up in it. You're present, you take care of it, you move on. Because no matter what you do, bitching and moaning and cussing and throwing things across the room, it doesn't change the fact that whatever happened, you need to fix it, or you need to make an
Right.
adjustment. So why dwell in the past when you've got a future to live? I love it.
Absolutely.
So when you're talking about, or when you're talking to another business owner, what kind of things do you share? Is I guess I'm getting to, when you talk to other business people, what do you guys talk about? Like, are you saying this is what I think we should do for a business owner, or hey, talk to me about what you went through? Like, what's it like to be a business owner talking to another business owner?
Well, so I'm part of the Ohio Landscape Association, on the board,
Okay.
the whole caboodle, and I mean we've been members of the association for I think like 30, maybe like 25 years, something like that, maybe longer. Um, so one of the great things about the association is, the networking part. So there's,
Yeah.
especially in Cleveland, there's such a variety of different landscape companies, and East Side, West Side is so different. Um, so like I've
I,
got some, yeah,
I just have to admit, the West Side, East Side, the like line of, I don't understand. It's the craziest thing. Like, nobody from the West Side wants to go to the East Side. East Side thinks the West Side is weird. Like, how did this happen in a
yes,
town that's not that big? Like, Cleveland is not New York City where we have
right.
boroughs, but it's East Side, West Side. Nobody wants to go across that line of demarcation. I don't get it.
100%. I worked for a large national company when I got out of college, and I interned there too while in college doing commercial landscape. And so for the internship, part of the program was like they had an east side branch and a west side branch. So like I split the summer. And I mean, the east side was like no big deal. Like these are my people. And then I went to the west side and it was just I can't put like a finger on like why, but it was just different. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
it's
it is.
just
It's a weird thing. So
yeah.
we got off topic. I'm sorry, but you were saying, okay,
Yeah.
go
So
ahead.
one of the great things is being able to bounce different ideas off of, and you're in like a totally different market, So the
Yeah,
guys on the west side, like they're not coming over to the east side to do any work, and vice versa. I mean, there's larger companies that obviously spread out east and west
yeah,
side, but even the guys on our side of town, like I can have a conversation with another company that I can throw a rock and hit, and I can have some pretty in-depth conversations with.
yeah.
There's just the attitude that we have is like there's enough work around here for everybody. You know, a,
Perfect.
a, a rising tide kind of raises all ships, right? So if we can collaborate a little bit, or I got a guy that applies here that worked for this company that I'm friends with, like, all right, I'm gonna give him a call, like, hey, what was your experience? Like, can you give me some
Yeah.
info? Like, I don't want a headache, and they don't want me to hire a headache, So I think there's some camaraderie in that.
You
Um,
draw you brought up something really cool, and I want people to be more in tune with this concept of abundance, right? You said there's plenty of business out here for everybody, and when you
right,
work with somebody in a networking event, whatever, you can find ways to collaborate, and you both have success, right? There is this weird attitude where, in order for me to win, somebody has to lose. How about
right,
we look at it from a perspective of, I'll win this one, you win that one, because I like this customer and this customer really likes me. You know what? That customer is not a good fit for me. You go take care of that one. That's fine. And when you get a chance to collaborate, it makes everybody more successful because everybody's getting what they're looking for. Granted, yes, you need to be a salesperson and give your best pitch, but if it's not a good fit, why would you waste your time arguing through a very tenuous customer relationship when, you know what, we're just not a good fit? I think somebody else can do a better job for you. Fine. Because there's plenty of work, right? There's how many
yes,
houses that need work. There's how many businesses that want your services. And what I'm a big fan of is, as a professional trying to do work for somebody else, I don't want anybody to ever be sold into what I do or what my customers do. I want people to buy into the program that they're going to be a part of, because now it's collaborative. Yes, you're going to give me money, but in return, I'm going to give you all these great, wonderful things. You want that rock wall installed, beautiful. You want this done, beautiful. Everything's done, and that's our exchange, right? People
Hmm.
bought into it. Nobody was sold into any concept, and to me, that's one of the most important things we can do is have people buy in. Because I love the
Absolutely.
idea of abundance. What's that?
Absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of workarounds. There's no reason to get into, any, competitive matches. And honestly, like, the market should set who wins and loses. So, and set
Yes.
the rate. So like there shouldn't be, if we could do a better job of collaborating, then everybody's kind of working from the same level playing field, and we all are successful at that point, as opposed to like, some company decides like, oh, we're just going to undercut all the bids by like 50%, whatever. Like, well, now you're torpedoing the market.
Yeah, yeah,
You're not
yeah.
helping anybody at that point.
And I'm going to go back to the word you mentioned earlier, which is reputation, and it has so many different caveats to it. One, if your reputation is the guy that undercuts everybody's pricing, then you're never going to be a quality service provider because everybody knows all you do is cut price. But if your
Right.
reputation is collaborative and more uh, cohesive with the customers you work with, you have a better chance of telling somebody based on a reputation, we're not a fit. It's okay. Because you'd rather have your reputation stand than, all right, I just made $10,000 on that job. Because if that job doesn't go well because you're not good at that particular thing they're looking to do, your reputation takes a hit because the customer didn't get what they wanted. I want to make sure we really drive home the idea of there's so much more opportunity than people realize. And when you work effectively and smart, you can get a hold of as much as you want. I think that's a really good message. So thank you for having a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
What advice would you give somebody that's just starting out their business? What would be your like? This is the one thing you really need to pay attention to.
I would say the best way, like if you were starting out, I would honestly say getting into something, whatever your industry is, whatever that association is, I think is key. Because there's so many people in there that are willing to help you out, that have, had the bumps and bruises along the way already, that could kind of show you like, hey, I see what path you're going down here. Look, we've done this before. This is not a good idea. Let me save you some headache. Um, I think there's just so much value in that. And but like anything, you're only going to get what you put in. So, if you go to
True.
those association meetings, networking events, whatever, and you just stand in the corner and don't say anything, whatever, yeah, you're not you're not going to get anything out of it. But if you kind of get into the middle of the bed per se, and get in with some guys, and get a little group going. There's going to be other
Here
people
you
in there
go.
that are starting out too, that are, or maybe they're 2 steps ahead of you. You're on step one, they're on step three. Hey, how'd you get to step three? Like, show me how you got
Yeah.
there.
And that's the whole purpose of this podcast, right? We're trying to get people to learn from everybody else's not mistakes, but learning experiences because there's no reason for somebody to go through the same trials you did when you can show them instead of going and doing this, try it this way. It probably will work out
Yep,
better.
100%.
Last question. If I were to put you in a time machine and send you back to 18-year-old Ryan and you sat down on a park bench, what would you two talk about?
Oh boy, 18-year-old Ryan.
Yeah, what would you say to yourself?
I would tell him like, hey, when they start coming out with Bitcoin, buy some, okay? You know,
All right. All right.
you know,
Touche. Touche. Good answer. Good
yeah,
answer.
I'd probably give some investment advice at that point, or one of those like in Ferris, or not Ferris, but Back to the Future, that sports book, all the
Oh, if you could do
everybody's flying.
that,
Right, yeah,
I'd be in Vegas every day, all day.
yeah. I think, like, as far as like any business advice, that sort of thing, I think I would tell them, or tell him, to really figure out how to develop people and work through people, because that's really like the force multiplier.
Yeah.
You know,
Great. Oh my God. Force multiplier. I love that.
you
Because you're
know,
right.
if yeah, if you're
But
going to be
you've
the
already made the
lone
comment,
wolf,
right? People on the team on the right seat. That's a huge component to what you do. If you would have learned that earlier, okay. But the good news is you learned it, right? And
oh yeah,
now you work on that. Perfect.
yeah. I have made some mistakes early in leadership, like running crews, that sort of thing, where I was a little bit more hard lined, you know, and a
Yeah.
little bit maybe harsher. Especially like I mean, my wife still gets on me about it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I'm still learning that part,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
definitely early on, I did not have any sort of self awareness to that whatsoever. It was whatever it is we got to do. Like I don't really care if you don't want to do it. Like you're gonna do it.
This is the way it needs to
But,
be done.
right.
All right. So what a great way to end the conversation by saying your wife told you it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
100%.
I think that I think we're done. I think that
Yeah.
finishes it out. Ryan, I
I
want to
would
thank you. This has been great. Amazing conversation. I appreciate it. What's that? What's your last comment?
I was just gonna say, I would owe much of my character development to her very nicely putting things to keep me in line. She's done a good job of softening me up a little bit.
So she is the guardrails to your personality and attitude expression.
100%. I would
I
agree.
love
I
that.
would agree.
What a politically correct way of saying exactly what we all know you're trying to say. So I appreciate
Yeah,
it. That's
absolutely.
great. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll see everybody on the next episode of the Business Spotlight.
Thanks, Scott.
My pleasure, my man.